Hold on to your hats, folks, because the global trade system just got a serious case of the sniffles. And guess who's got their finger jammed firmly up its nose? That's right, it's our old friend, President Donald J. Trump. On April 2nd, 2025, the man who thinks trade wars are easy to win decided to launch another one. This time it's a global extravaganza, with tariffs slapped on pretty much every country on Earth, except, of course, Russia and North Korea, because, those are the good guys in this story. These aren't your run-of-the-mill. Let's tweak the price a little tariffs. We're talking a starting rate of 10% on everything. Oh, and by April 9th, that number jumps up to almost 50% for some countries. And how, you might ask, did the Trump administration decide on these numbers? Well, it's based on this convoluted formula involving trade balances and total trade amounts. It's about as clear as mud and makes just as much sense. The real kicker, smaller economies and those who foolishly thought they had free trade agreements with the US are getting hit the hardest. Take Vietnam, for example. They're looking at a whopping 46% tariff, Cambodia 49%, Laos 48%, the list goes on. China, of course, is public enemy number one in this trade war. They're facing a potential tariff of over 75%. That's right, 75%. It's enough to make your head spin. But wait, there's more. On top of all these new tariffs, we still have the old ones on steel, aluminum and auto parts, because why stop at just crippling the global economy when you can completely obliterate it? The ripple effects are already being felt. Store shelves are emptying and consumers are starting to panic. The stock market is in freefall and traders are in a state of distress. It's a chaotic scene. Protests are erupting worldwide, with people demanding an end to this trade madness. World leaders are scrambling to negotiate and find a way out of this mess. The stakes have never been higher. The interconnected nature of our global economy means that no one is spared from the fallout. It's a tangled web of consequences, but amidst the chaos, there's a glimmer of hope. People are resilient and solutions will emerge. The world is watching and waiting. Remember that feeling of dread you got back in 2020 when the stock market went haywire? It was like watching a slow-motion car crash, wasn't it? Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because we're in for round two. And this time, it might be even bumpier. The markets reacted to Trump's tariff tantrum about as well as you'd expect, with all the grace and composure of a toddler throwing a temper tantrum in the cereal aisle. It was chaos. We're talking the worst stock market day since, you guessed it, 2020, a day that will be remembered for its sheer volatility. Those gains we all thought were safe and sound, gone, poof, vanished into thin air like they never existed. Investors are running for the hills, dumping stocks like they're radioactive, and it's a mad dash to find safer havens, and throwing their money at anything that even remotely resembles stability, gold, cash, you name it. Economists, those perpetually worried souls, are now throwing around the R word like it's going out of style. Recession is the buzzword of the day. Recession risk? Oh, it's not just a risk anymore, folks. It's practically a guarantee. The writing is on the wall. Some experts are even saying there's a 40 to 50% chance we'll be neck deep in a recession within the next year. That's a coin flip, people. But hey, at least we'll be saving money on cheap imported goods, right? Wrong. Think again, these tariffs are like a sneaky tax hike, only instead of going to the government, the extra cash goes straight into the pockets of, well, no one really. It's a lose-lose situation. We all end up paying more for everything, and businesses get squeezed from both ends. It's a double whammy. The energy sector is getting hammered. Oil prices are fluctuating wildly. Financial services are on ropes. Banks are feeling the pressure, and big tech, don't even get me started. They're scrambling to adapt. Their precious supply chains are in shambles. Delays and disruptions are the new normal. Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, all those companies that can't seem to make enough money, yeah, they're feeling the pain too. No one is immune in this economic storm. You know what they say? Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. And it seems like we have a collective case of historical amnesia. And when it comes to tariffs, America seems to have a serious case of amnesia. We keep making the same mistakes over and over again. Because let's be honest, folks, this isn't our first rodeo. We've seen this play out before, and it never ends well. We've been down this road before. It's a long, winding path of economic turmoil and hardship. And spoiler alert, it doesn't end well. The consequences are always dire, affecting millions of lives. Remember the Great Depression? Of course you do. It was a time of unprecedented economic collapse. It was a delightful time when unemployment was through the roof and bread lines stretched longer than a Kardashian's list of failed marriages. People were desperate and hopeless. Well, guess what played a starring role in that little economic apocalypse? The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930. It was a disaster in the making. This brilliant piece of legislation slapped tariffs on over 20,000 imported goods. It was supposed to protect American jobs, but did the exact opposite. And what happened? Global trade plummeted, the economy tanked, and the world plunged deeper into depression. It was a catastrophe, but hey, maybe we learned our lesson after that debacle, right? Nope, we seem to be gluttons for punishment. Fast forward to 2002, when the Bush administration decided to impose tariffs on imported steel. It was déjà vu all over again. The result? Higher steel prices, job losses in industries that relied on affordable steel, and a big fat economic headache. It was a mess. So here we are again, standing on the precipice of another self-inflicted economic disaster. The warning signs are all there. Experts are practically screaming from the rooftops, warning that these tariffs are a colossal mistake. They are urging us to reconsider, but is anyone listening? Of course not. We seem to be willfully ignorant. Because in Trump's America, history is just something you ignore while you're busy repeating it, and the cycle continues. So let's delve into the ideology behind the trade war. At its core, the trade war is driven by a desire to protect domestic industries and reduce dependency on foreign goods. By imposing tariffs, countries aim to make imported goods more expensive, thus encouraging consumers to buy locally produced items. This approach is often rooted in economic nationalism, a belief that prioritizing national interests can lead to greater economic security and prosperity. However, this ideology is not without its critics who argue that it can lead to inefficiencies and higher costs for consumers. As tariffs are imposed, the targeted countries often retaliate with their own set of tariffs, creating a tit-for-tat scenario. This cycle of retaliation can escalate quickly, leading to a full-blown trade war. When major economies engage in such conflicts, the global market feels the tremors. Businesses face uncertainty, investments stall, and the ripple effects can reach far and wide. The world stands on the brink of a retaliatory spiral where no one emerges as a clear winner in the end. One of the most immediate impacts of a trade war is the disruption of global supply chains. Companies that rely on international suppliers for raw materials or components find themselves scrambling to adjust. The increased costs due to tariffs can lead to higher prices for consumers and, in some cases, shortages of certain products. Protectionist policies, while intended to safeguard domestic industries, can thus have the paradoxical effect of harming the very consumers they aim to protect. It's a complex and often costly side effect of trade wars. As trade wars unfold, they inevitably reshape the landscape of globalization. Companies may seek to diversify their supply chains, moving production closer to home or to countries not involved in the conflict. This reconfiguration can lead to new trade alliances and a shift in global economic power. Looking ahead, the future of trade will likely involve a more fragmented but resilient global market. The lessons learned from these trade conflicts will inform policies and strategies for years to come as nations navigate the delicate balance between protectionism and open markets.